and welcome to my channel. You are watching my Color With Me video in which I am going to be coloring in a page from my Hamilton coloring book of the song lyric Talk Less, Smile More. So I want to talk about this quote, the song lyric, and kind of my thoughts around it and my sort of journey with it and what it means to me. So this is another sort of out of context conversation about a musical. So that's just kind of the theme this month. So just hang in there with me, I guess. So Talk Less, Smile More is the overarching theme of the Aaron Burr character in the musical. And he is definitely my favorite character in the musical because of this. When I first started listening to Hamilton, I wasn't in the best place in my life. This was a couple years ago. I was struggling with my career. I was struggling with some mental health issues. I was struggling to find a way to live with myself, basically. And I thought about how this sort of philosophy of shut up and smile basically played out in my life without me really realizing it. I was very introverted growing up, and I use that term cautiously, because I don't mean that I was just shy and that I kept to myself and that I read a lot of books and that I colored in my room all day. I mean introverted in the sense that people really exhausted me. I didn't feel very comfortable with most of my family, immediate and extended. I didn't have a ton of close friendships growing up. I had a few, and I was very lucky for those, but by the time high school came around, I definitely had dropped off on those close friendships, and I just felt very isolated and very unsafe around people. And Talk Less, Smile More was sort of a coping strategy for me. For me, it wasn't a political strategy like it was for Aaron Burr, but for me it was more of a way to avoid vulnerability. And vulnerability is something that I think about a lot, and have been thinking about a lot for the past couple years. I'm a big fan, as you could probably guess, of Brené Brown, and I have read several of her books and listened to basically all of her TED Talks and podcast episodes and interviews that I could get my hands on. And that's something that she talks about a lot, is sort of living wholeheartedly and being vulnerable and what that can do for your life. And that's something that I want to practice very badly and have been trying to, and with mixed results. It's been an ongoing work in progress, trying to become more vulnerable. These YouTube videos, for example, are part of that practice, because I feel like I speak very candidly and very off the cuff on these, and that's sort of something that, I don't know, in addition to just journaling, has been a way to be a way to express my story, I guess. But anyway, the point is, Talk Less, Smile More. It's a coping strategy that I used for many, many years, and it's one that just doesn't really serve me anymore. And I need to find ways to sort of break out of it. I was listening to a podcast earlier today that was all about this topic, and the conversation was about finding self-compassion and cultivating that in your life. And one of the steps in doing that is to sort of be self-reflective and be curious about the automatic responses that you have to hardship in your life. And one of my automatic responses is to shut down and stop talking, and to just not say anything and suffer in silence, and just sort of big smile my way through. And I recently had, like just yesterday, had a huge heart-to-heart with some of my roommates about feelings and hurt feelings and bottling up feelings. And after this conversation, we were joined by some other friends, and we all sort of shared a little bit of our story of growing up with less than ideal circumstances and growing up not really knowing how to cope with our feelings and not really knowing how to express ourselves and not knowing how to use our voice. And it just occurs to me that like there's so much work to be done in growing up and learning how to become a healthy, functioning person. And even saying it that way is like, it's not something you become, it's a process of becoming, and it never really stops. And trying to learn to accept that and trying to work on things and shedding these old habits that don't serve us is so important. So that's just something that I've kind of been kicking around my brain today. I really want to work on that for myself, just figuring out how I can abandon this idea of talk less, smile more, because I think it helped me when I was younger, but it definitely doesn't anymore. And that's a transformation that I'm really lucky and really grateful to have realized. And I look forward to sharing with you how that transformation goes and how I can grow through this in future videos. I'll just kind of keep this conversation going. But for right now, I do need to stop. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching and listening, if you're still out there. And I'll leave you with a question. My question for you today is, what coping strategies have you had in your life that are no longer serving you? I think everyone has a different sort of spin on how to deal with all the horrible things that happen to us and all the terrible feelings we have. So I'd be really interested to know what other people are dealing with. So yeah, let me know. Until next time, be cute, be kind, love Bandit.